The matter chop hot.
Asemene diloto. Hey! Aye!
In Ghana's creative arts industry, there are lots of contributions that we do or that comes from us into the whole country as a whole, and I think it is about time we start projecting some of these things as far as Ghana's creative arts industry is concerned. Sometimes we complain people don't take us serious, the politicians don't mind us, they do this, they do that, and they don't even care about our economy or whatever we do as an industry. But then, sometimes I also feel we also share part of the blame because of how we also translate or even educate them on the things that we do. So on today's episode of Roland Report, my name is Roland AMARTEY. I would want us to discuss or have a discussion on some of the positives or takeaways, as it were, takeaways, or as it is, on the just ended 13th All African Games that took place in Ghana. I mean, we played as a creative art industry, played very instrumental role in both the opening and the closing ceremonies of this particular event, of this particular program, or of this particular tournament that took place in Ghana, of which some of these things that we have contributed in this country, as far as this particular project is concerned, should not go unnoticed. So stick and stay with me. If this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share this content with other people. Let them know real entertainment lives here. And also, you know, I always do this with you. So you are always at liberty to also share your views in the comment section. Let me hear from you. Let me know what you think about whatever we are going to discuss. And also don't forget that this particular show is sponsored by Shoutouts, Ghana's #1 ride-hailing app. Go on the Google Play Store, App Store to download your app and enjoy very affordable rides as well as commission-free rides as drivers. Shoutouts, it is time to ride. So we are entering straight into the matter. Let's open it and close it up quickly, and we run away from here. Let's do this quick. Maybe you can share your view, and we have a discussion. So yes, during the 13th African Games, All African Games that took place in Ghana, that is also named Accra 2023, both the opening and the closing of this particular tournament saw our people play very crucial role in whatever or how this whole thing was made beautiful. And it is starting from some of the takeaways. I mean, what some people would call positive is what I want us to start from. So let's project the beautiful things that we were able to do. So on the opening ceremony, we saw the likes of Shatawale, Kim Promise, Ebo Taylor, and also the legendary Pat Thomas all perform, as well as South African Infela, all perform at the opening ceremony of the All African Games. Now, and also at the closing ceremony, we saw the likes of Stonebwoy and Riala also representing Ghana in the closing ceremony. Okay, so let's enter into some of the positives that were derived from this particular move as a creative art industry. The first one that I would want us to point out is the industry's contribution to the sporting event, both at the opening and the closing of the ceremony. I stated that, yes, even though it is a sporting activity, the whole tournament is sports, and we know that when it comes to the creative art, our tentacles spread beyond the things that we do as an industry, even into politics, even into sports, even into other sectors that is even connected to the whole country. So if it is politicians that are going to host an event, whether rallies, as we even find ourselves in an election year, if it is a politician that are going to host rallies and everything, campaign platforms, it is our people from the creative arts that are being employed to make sure these things happen. Whether it is stage design, whether it is set design, whether it is the planning of the whole event, it is our people from the creative arts industry that are being employed to make sure some of these things are done and done right. So On the opening and the closing ceremony of this particular tournament, yes, we saw the contribution that our people had, and by contribution, let me say big shout outs to people like groups like Event Factory and Silicon House Production that played very crucial role in making sure the organization of both the closing and the opening ceremony of this particular tournament was made successful. In fact, when you look at, yes, of course they collaborated with the Leap Creative Studios as well as Vivendi, which is a foreign based event production that came in all to help. But then, in coming to Ghana, of course, they did not, all the personnel that worked on this particular project were not all foreigners. Most of our people on the ground were all employed to make sure this particular thing was done and done right. So, in that sense, let me say big shout outs to Events Factory as well as Silicon House Production. Well, if there is any other company or entity that also helped, why not? Let me say big shout outs to them. Let me say big shout outs to Fantasy Entertainment. Leslie's Fantasy Entertainment also played a very important role in the whole organization and everything that went on with the opening and closing ceremony of the All African Games. Now, let me also talk about employment for our people, which is one of the positives that I also got out of the opening and closing ceremony of the All African Games. Now, employment for our people. Yes, when these foreign-based event production houses came, they employed our people. And by employing our people, I am also talking about the top heads like the Silicon House Production and Events Factory. And by so doing, it transcends into even into the ordinary person. Let's just imagine the number of people that our industry employs each and every day whenever we want to host this event. For the economic benefits of what we are able to get when our services are required to make sure or to run some of these things, they are enormous. They are enormous, from the street worker, even outside people who are not even part of the tournament itself, gets to benefit when we do some of these things. So on the day when the opening ceremony was happening at the Legon Stadium, you can clearly see the huge economic activity that was going on around the whole Accra, not to even talk about the Legon and its enclaves. From the Legon, University of Ghana Legon, and it's in through to East Legon, to Medina, to wherever. All these people benefited immensely from whatever our people contributed on making the opening and the closing ceremony successful. Now, this particular move also projects an active industry. Yes, our industry has been very active, and let me commend everybody in it, because our little contribution from every corner is what is making our industry an active one. So when you check from January to December, event people are always in business. Yes, we know there are times and seasons where sometimes they are hot seasons, sometimes they are the seasons, well, jobs may be down a little bit, but when you check, the industry has always been active to the extent that even when we want people, when they want people with brains, technical brains, or personnel with the technical know-how to who are abreast with even modern ways of doing stuff, quickly we are able to get quickly we are able to get they're able to point out somebody or a group of people from our industry to help make some of these things successful. So yes, if we are looking for personnel with the technical know-how, as in people who are still keeping the industry active, from musicians to event planners and everything, look at how active our industry is. So aside Shatter, aside Ebo Taylor, aside Kim Promise, aside Riala, aside Stoneboy, aside Pat Thomas, if we were still looking for people to represent Ghana, because of how active our industry is, our artists performing day in, day out, yes, we will still get people to represent Ghana anyways. And this is one of them. The next one has to do with supporting the December in GH Dream. Of course, let's look at when it comes to making Ghana a tourism destination country, which has been one of the top priorities of this particular government, of which they've been able to do and do it successfully from the year of return to beyond the return to December in GH, now 30 December and everything. how all these times have metamorphosed and still been able to keep it active. Yes, we know periodically some events leave, but then the replacement of it that still keeps the December in GH, which in the long run in intends to make Ghana a tourism destination country, keeping that dream alive as an industry. This is our little quarter. The effort that we were able to put in the opening and the closing ceremony of the All African Games is one of the contributions that we can make as an industry to make sure that particular dream is kept alive. So if you watch from January, February, we still held events. March, we were able to do these two top events, the opening and the closing, of which Easter is also just around the corner. And when you check on event calendars, there are so many events that have piled up. There are so many events that are lined up for such activities, of which you can't take it away from our people. So yes, keeping the December dream alive is a huge one. It's a huge one. Now, the last thing is collaboration. We all know how difficult it is for some of our people to collaborate in this country. But then, as an industry, not only did we collaborate with the foreign event producers that came to work on this particular project, but even within ourselves, even within our own locality, how our local events people were able to collaborate even with the sporting fraternity, how our creative arts industry and the sporting fraternity was also able to collaborate with the tourism facility or tourism industry, because as it were, when these people come or during the stay of these people, they enjoyed almost everything as far as creative, sporting, and tourism is concerned. Visiting monumental places, visiting tourist sites, going to enjoying the nightlife in this country. Of course, some of these places or some of these times they were not all busy and all that. But then they had to enjoy some nightlives. They had to patronize some hotels. They had to patronize some Airbnb. They had to even patronize our food. So when you look at that particular collaboration between our creative art industry, the sporting industry, as well as the tourism industry, it is a huge way to say that when it comes to collaborating to make sure the bigger dream is achieved, Ghana, we were poised to it. And let me say big shout outs to the creative art industry. Before I enter into some of the what we call the howevers, some of the negatives in whatever happened. Of course, you can't get it all 100%. There will be some ones and twos that moving forward we would need to correct in order to make the industry a better one. Before I enter into that, let me say big shout outs to Anita Eskin, who was the MC of this particular two events. I'm talking about the opening and the closing ceremonies of this particular of the All African Games opening and closing ceremonies. Now, let's enter into that particular one. I mean the negatives as it were. The first one is transparency on the benefits the industry received. When it comes to us as an industry, there are so many things that we take for granted. There are so many things that we think, oh, there is no need for us to share. There are so many things that we tend to hide from even the people that employ us. And at the end of the day, it shies them away from even coming or seeing the need for them to even contribute to the uplifting of our industry. So out of this particular performance or out of these two events, what are the transparencies that we will be able to make on the benefits that the industry or the creative arts industry received from these two moves in terms of employment for our industry? And we all know, even when it comes to employment, everybody that was employed to work on these projects did not work for free. We did not work for free. Yes, we had some benefits, monetary benefits. How do we project some of these benefits even to the fans, even to the ordinary people, for them to know that indeed the industry is very lucrative? Indeed, our services did not go to waste, and these are the benefits that we got as an industry, so that tomorrow, even if they are reading the State of the Nation address, our industry can also be included in the talkabilities. Our industry can also be prioritized, because at the end of the day, the benefits that we get, that is from our artists, that is from the people that work on these things. Even how did this even contribute to the streams? How did this even contribute to whatever we had as an industry? How did this even contribute to our popularity as an industry? How did this particular move even project some of the top things that we do? How did this particular project even project some of the technical brains that we have as an industry? But no, we will prefer to keep quiet. We will prefer to hide them. We will prefer not to talk about them. And at the end of the day, we expect these people to take us serious. That is the first one. The second one has to do with unnecessary commentaries and misplaced priorities. Unnecessary commentaries and misplaced priorities. In fact, the understanding when it comes to event production in this country, we all know the challenges of which sometimes even the fans take advantage of. Of which even sometimes the fans take advantage of. What am I talking about? That's what I'm talking about. I mean, you see, sometimes when we don't set our priorities straight, there are certain things that we will do and we will just be tickling ourselves and laughing. Going online, I have seen so many people making unnecessary comparison. Yes, we know in the space, people have favorites. We know in the space, in order for you to say this person is doing well, you would have to compare the person to another person. That is understood. That is there, and that is fine. Nobody is saying don't compare. But at what times do you compare? What do you compare? Who do you compare who with? And with what parameters? That is where my problem lies. So now you go online and people are talking about, even let's look at the opening ceremony. When Shatta, Kim Promised, Ebo Taylor, and Pat Thomas performed, like I'm talking about the people that represented Ghana, what made the major headlines? It was about the fact that, oh, some people just wanted to go against Shatta Wale. These are some of the things that made top headlines. These are the things that made top headlines. But the beautiful performance that Shatta gave, his costume, the beautiful performance that Kim Promise gave, his whole setup and everything, the beautiful performance that Ebo Taylor and Pat Thomas also gave, that represented our high life and culture. No, we didn't project it. Misplaced priorities and at the end of the day, we would want to compare, who did miming? And Shatta did miming, and this person did miming, forgetting that, and we would even want to compare it to other events of different kind, other events of different nature. So you say, oh, why we expect this person to perform live band? Oh, we didn't expect this person to perform. Forgetting that if it is AFCON, if it is Super Bowl, the whole organization and its production is totally different from the All African Games. You can't compare an AFCON performance to an All African. Yes, it is event. It is a sporting event that we can say, okay, probably they should have done right. But then, or they should have done some things right. But comparing it to say they should have done the same thing is wrong. Because the choice of venue, the choice of personnel, the whole arrangement, the whole event production, even the direction of whatever they wanted to achieve, these are two different platforms that if we should ask, that if we should inquire, we will be able to get answers. But then, what do we see on our airwaves? And unfortunately, the people that even have the technical know-how in terms of the event field, event production and all that are not speaking up, are not talking. And these are some of the challenges that we have as an industry. These are some of the challenges that misplace priorities in one. So go on our entertainment platforms and all they are talking about is, oh, this person performed this, that person performed this person performed. Meanwhile, there are certain positives that we can equally project that can make one of the problems that I think some people will also have, not a chance online, has to do with the fact that Stonebwoy brought Odumodu Black, who is a Nigerian. Why do we always have problem when it is about Nigeria? I mean, somebody from Cameroon performed, Somebody from Gabon performed. Somebody from South Africa performed. But then we didn't have a problem than one Nigerian that just came to do a passing through. We never had a problem with a Gabonese having a full-fledged performance. We never had a problem with a Cameroonian having a full-fledged performance. We never had a problem with a South African having a full-fledged performance. But we have a problem with just a Nigerian that had about a minute or even 30 seconds performance, just a passing through. What kind of people are we? What type of misplaced priorities do we have as a people? And it is sad. The last one before I take leave is accountability for public funds. This is also another opportunity for people to use as a political tool, as an evidence to lambast people left, right, center. We know people are going to embezzle public funds. We know some monies will not be able to be accounted for. Let's even look at the start of these tournaments. Right after the opening, the speculations of monies being paid to people here and there, how the ministry came to respond to it, the type, like after this, we go to the public accounts committee to make accounts, and you will hear some unreasonable figures. And unfortunately, our very own people, I'm talking about the entertainment industry that are supposed to stand for our people. You see divisiveness. You see people, a section standing on left, a section standing on right because of their political affiliations. None of them will say anything that will protect the industry, but rather our commentaries and everything that we are going to do will be one that will push these top people. I'm talking the politicians away from our industry. So tomorrow, if there is a State of the Nation address, you will not even hear them speak of our industry. And it is sad. These are some of the few things that I wanted to share on the closing and the opening ceremony of the All African Games. That is the 13th edition of the All African Games that took place in Ghana. I spoke about some of my and all these things. These ones are my takeaways in the industry. You can also share your view if you agree with me or disagree with me. Maybe there is something that I also missed. You can equally share your view in the comment section. Let me hear from you. Contribute. It is a two-way street. My name is Roland AMARTEY. If you're watching for the first time, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share this content with other people. Don't forget to tell people about Roland's report, because real entertainment, showbiz, and social issues lives here with you. So until then, we will meet on the next episode. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
The matter chop hot. Assembly Diloto. Hey! Aye! Hey!